Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Our Take, a podcast you can trust. I'm your host, LukeMan97, and today we're back with another episode. Today we're actually going to be talking about renewable energy sources. But before we get into that, I just want to ask you guys, do you think we should start doing weekly podcast episodes? Because if you want me to start doing that, I probably can. So if you want me to start doing that, tell me down below in the comments, and I can start doing weekly podcast episodes. Anyways, renewable energy, what is it? So, renewable energy is something that can be renewed. An example of non-renewable energy is like coal or oil, because there's only a little bit, like specific amounts of those things buried in the earth, and someday they'll run out. But renewable energy is something like wood or whatever that can keep on growing and keep producing energy. And so yeah, some examples of renewable energy is obviously there's biomass, which biomass basically means plant matter, and that is a category for wood because wood is technically plant matter, and that's a renewable energy. Wood isn't the cleanest, but it is a renewable energy. Sometimes animal wastes can be used, like back in the day they used like buffalo dung and stuff to make fires, so that can also be used. There's also such things as like biofuels, where they make ethanol from corn or whatever and put it in the fuels, and not only does it burn cleaner, but it also makes it more renewable because it's less fuel being used, which means less of the little bits of deposits we have, so it makes the fuel better. And some more examples is, well, there's hydroelectricity, and that's really clean too. That's dam power. One of the downsides to dam power is that it floods a large area to make the lake, and also it sometimes prevents fish from migrating upstream, but that can easily be fixed with a fish ladder. So yeah, I think hydroelectricity is probably one of the most renewable and clean energy sources in the world, honestly. You just need the river and place to build it. There's also solar panels. Those can produce clean energy as well, but with solar panels, they do have to be, like, the batteries have to be changed eventually. They have to be thrown out or whatever, so it's not completely renewable because there's still waste from it and stuff like that. So solar panels, yeah. There's also wind energy, aka windmills, where the wind turns them, they make power, and that's also clean somewhat, but like I said in the Renewables video, which was I think our second video on the channel, we did a video with Diesel on the channel, and we talked about how wind energy is bad, and that's because what happens is after the windmills are done, which is they have a life of like 40 years or something like that, they have to be put in windmill graveyards. They can't be like recycled or scrapped. I think it's because of like the consistency of metal, so it's not necessarily that clean. There's also geothermal energy, which is where they take heat from the earth, like what makes the hot springs or the volcanoes, and they use that to heat the water that turns the turbine. That's how basically every energy is made, where like either the water is heated to turn a turbine with steam that makes energy, or in the case of the hydroelectric dam, the water turns the turbine, which makes energy. There's also tidal power, which isn't really used too much, but it's where it's used to, when the tide comes up and goes down, that energy and movement there is used to produce power. So how can we conserve energy? Well, we can help by not leaving our lights on in the house or appliances as much as just don't leave them on if you're not in the room or not using them. And as far as water and that stuff goes, we can not turn on the water if we're not using it. And here's a graph here. It says actually here that about, as far as renewable energy in the US, about, I think it says that about 20% renewable energy in the US. So renewable energy generates about 20% of the US electricity. So about 9.2% of that 20 is wind power, so we have the most in wind power. Hydropower is about 6.3%, which is dams. Solar is 2.8%. Biomass, which is like wood and stuff, is 1.3%. And geothermal is 0.4%, which isn't many. For some reason, it doesn't list nuclear power here. Nuclear power is also a thing where it can you know, it's, I can't really understand it really it's like as far as like splitting atoms or something like that. You'd have to go look that up. It's a science. It's something with science and splitting atoms, nuclear fission it's called, but I can't really explain about that. But nuclear power, while it's clean, it is pretty dangerous because if you had like a spill or something, it would not be good. And also, like at the end of the plant's life, you have to contain all that like nuclear stuff so it doesn't get out into the atmosphere. So it's pretty dangerous. So yeah, those are the different renewable energies, at least that I've heard of and in the US. And like I said, make sure and conserve the energy by making sure to turn off your lights and water and everything when you're not in the room. It'll help a lot. Because renewable energy is good, but most energy actually still tends to be made by non-renewable sources like coal and stuff like that. So as much as we can conserve, it'll cut down on the usage of non-renewable materials and pollution. Thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, turn on notifications, and I'll be back in the next one.